Hello, this is Reverend Don Lewis coming to you from beautiful Central Illinois. And today our question comes to us from Leslie. And Leslie writes to say that she has just finished watching that early episode of Living the Wiccan Life in which Lady Crystal and I conduct a seance. And her question is, how can you tell if a person who is conducting a seance is genuine or if they're pretending and only out to make money? And this is a very reasonable question because there was a time at which that was a serious issue in the psychic community. Around 100 years ago, give or take a little bit, there was a lot of hucksterism in the psychic community, particularly around the issue of seances. Today, I think there's a lot less of that, partly because seances themselves are fairly uncommon. And how can you tell? Well, I don't have a single fast answer for that, but there are a number of things I would recommend. And one of them is, first and foremost, to trust your own intuition and feelings. Another thing is that if you're looking for a seance, try to find the person to conduct it through a reputable spiritual organization, such as the Correllian tradition, the Spiritualist Church, or something of this line, because that sort of organization is careful about who it allows to do that sort of thing. Another thing is that you can usually tell by whether or not you get anything good. It is true that even the best psychic can have a bad day, but generally speaking, you should feel that you got something relevant from the seance. And if you didn't, then you might not want to have another one with that person. Seances don't necessarily provide dramatic, life-altering messages, but they should give you something that will ring true. And I have been at seances where people did get dramatic, life-altering messages, but by and large, Uncle Harry doesn't come through with a secret will. It's much more laid back than that. The word seance actually only means a sitting. They can also be called message circles, which sometimes brings in less expectation and is perhaps closer to what they really are. And in a message circle or a seance, ideally every person will receive a message from a spirit. It may be a departed loved one, it may be a spirit guide. And of course it all does depend a lot on who is conducting the seance because people do it differently. But this is a general outline of what you should expect. And again, as a general rule, it's not going to be a big earth-shattering message, although occasionally it does happen. But you should feel that you got something from it. Another thing I would say as a guideline is consider the price. If the price is reasonable, the person is much more likely to be genuine in what they're doing. If the price is outrageous, unless they're very famous, which of course is an exception, but unless they're very famous, if the price is outrageous, I would think that it would be a little bit of a red flag. There is an exception to this, and that is that sometimes certain communities will have Halloween seances, which because of the date may have an exorbitant price. But Halloween seances are in effect a happening, and it's not only the seance experience, but the time that you're having the seance, and of course space is always limited. Seances can only accommodate so many people, at least if you're trying to give everyone a message. And granted, not every seance will follow that format. I think the largest I've ever done was 26 people. I have seen people do larger numbers, but I also think that that's very difficult and that it can also affect the quality of the information coming through as the medium gets more and more tired. But as I've said in other vlogs, the more of this work you do, the more you can do. And so that won't always be true. So again, no hard and fast answer, but I hope this does give you something to think about and perhaps helps to answer your question. And until next time, may you blessed be.